Hey,
Hello, everyone. Thank you all so very much for joining us. We're going to be talking about Big Brother. A lot has happened with Big Brother, and Michelle has got all the details. Michelle, what you got for us?
well, some of the details we'll see, but yes, we'll start because we'll go from Sunday and then kind of talk about today. But when we left off, they had the four nominees, and we didn't know who the HOH was at that point. So they on Sunday's episode, the guests are entering the house, and they teased it because we did see Sari from Survivor there, but they kind of left it like that. And she did, I think she told somebody she was the 17th house guest, but we get to see like the real full thing on this episode. So some recognize her right away because she was she was a big thing on Survivor. So I watched Survivor almost every season, just about, and I don't remember all the players, but you definitely will remember Sari. And it's like we'll see how she plays herself in Big Brother, but she was definitely like a big time. And it's like what was interesting is how like some people will be on a show and then they come to the All Stars and they like, let's get them out first because we already know how they play. For some reason, I don't know, she was able to like finagle, and even though people knew how she was, they admired her. I don't know, but she would make it far. Any case, they mentioned that she was a four-time Survivor player. She describes herself as a gangster in an Oprah suit, but she's a nice one with a smile. And so she's known for her power persuasion. And it's not like, I think because it's real, it's not like fake or anything. Like you really, I don't know, when people are talking to her, they really, and I think she probably feels real about it at the time, but she's able to persuade people to do different things. But her and her son are both in the show. Their plan is to stay undetected. And when they introduce themselves, he's like, "Hi, I'm Jared." And she's like, "Hey, I'm Sari." And they hug like they don't know each other.
Can I say, I want to move beyond when they introduce each other, which
Okay.
to me was kind of awkward. But I just, but I do want to say this. In looking at him and looking at her, he did not take after her at all. To me, he's just not very smooth at all. He's not
Oh,
smooth.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm not talking about what he looks like. I'm just
Looks
talking
okay.
about like she's just. It's almost like she's motherly, and because she's motherly, I trust you. With
Mm-hmm.
him, it's I have an agenda. I'm trying to work this agenda. I'm trying to
Yeah.
prove that I'm as good or better than my mom.
Mm-hmm. And she's coaching him throughout. You'll see that throughout the show. Like she'll love on him, and they'd be like, "Look, you got to quit all that talking," or she'll coach him throughout the show. But there's one person that did recognize them, and it was Izzy. And so she stalked, Sari's social media, and she was just like, "I know who you are," but she promises to keep it to herself, and that solidifies her. Um, I shouldn't say safety in the house, but they have to be loyal to her because she has their secret in her hands, and she knows it and they know it. So they
Mhm.
do that. So anyway, they do all that kind of stuff, discovering all the rooms and all that kind of stuff, and start connecting with each other. And um they do the group intros. And so I think the most interesting thing in the group intros was that Red delivered all of his kids. I thought that was interesting because a lot of times the husbands are like, sometimes they're there, sometimes they're like, I don't need to see all that, but he did that.
But was
Um,
he in the Marines?
he was in one of the armed forces. It may have been the Marines. I can't
And
remember.
and the reason I bring that up is because depending on whether or not you saw action or not,
Hmm.
blood means nothing to you.
Oh, that's true. That could be like nothing, but and it's different to me also that not that he wasn't there, but he delivered them too. So that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, while they're doing this, Corey returns because remember he was in the scary verse. He was somewhere, but he returns and um, he has a message that basically he was there for a little while, but next time people won't be so lucky. So anyway, people are feeling mad because Matt is a looker. He is a looker. Um, and Bowie introduced herself. She lies about her age, and I think she did say she was going to lie by her age. She doesn't look 45, but I don't think she looks 34 either. But did we talk about this before about if you would lie about your age or job on the show?
I mean, because of the job that I have, no,
Mhm.
there's no reason for me to lie. Now, my age, I would lie about my age, and
Okay.
only because y- hell, I'm damn near 50 years old,
Mhm.
and they would look at me differently. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
if I were like 29 or 31, nah,
Mhm.
they wouldn't look at me differently. But
Yeah.
if I come in there and I say I'm damn near 50, it's an old
That is
man.
true.
What the hell are
That
you
is
gonna
true.
do?
You put a label on yourself. But I just think like more lies you got to keep up with and all that kind of stuff. Like, what year were you born? Ooh, let me calculate real quick. So yeah. But what else happened? Let me see what good stuff happened. So oh, there was like it was just kind of funny with Siri and Jared talking where he was saying that basically they need to start um talking more and solidifying their connections. It's a fly in here with other people. He said like with Hyman, and she was like, Hyman? And anyway, it's Hisam or whatever, but she was like, Hyman is what you the lady.
The lady part, the first time you have
Yes,
sex.
yes. And so, but anyway, that was cute. So, let me see. Oh, this was the first, they all in the workout room, and this is the first alliance that was formed. So it was five of them in the workout room, kind of talking about whatever. And Kristen kind of was just like, why don't we form an alliance? And so anybody that's watched Big Brother apart, you don't turn down the alliance. Even if you don't think it's real, you don't turn it down. And so that's how the Phalanx 5 alliance starts. I would
Hmm.
have been like, what am I again? What am I in? So even the name didn't stick. But it was all of those five people.
Which, by the way, Luke came up with.
Oh, okay, okay. Luke came up with the name. I forgot he was even in that alliance. But anyway, so so Kristen goes around and she talks to different people. So she talks to Sari and was basically like, you know, I want, usually they get the old people out first, and I want to protect you if I can. And so she was just like, um,
Which, by the way, was a great strategy. It was
mm-hmm,
a great. I mean, because it's numbers, right? It's a
yeah,
numbers game. So I thought
yeah.
that was a great strategy.
Yeah, and she gives the same message to Felicia, and so Felicia is feeling that. And I think what they don't show on the show, because to me, when I watched the episode, it didn't seem like Kirsten was really doing that much, because they start to target her, and it's just like, why are they targeting her? If I had just watched the show, but in the live feeds, she's talking to everybody, and she's giving a little too much information to everybody, and so that's what puts the target on her back, because it's like,
See, because I was, I wasn't able to watch it live. So
mm-hmm,
all I saw was Sari bring it to I
Riley.
want to say Felicia so bad.
Oh,
Fel,
oh,
uh,
Felicia.
Felicia.
I can say Felicia. I'm
Felicia.
sorry. We'll get it together throughout the season.
Yeah. I just saw that. So to me, it was like, oh, because Jared was the first one to hit Sari
Mhm.
to the situation with Kirsten, and it was really just a feeling that he had, right? Is that
Well, no, well, it seemed in the episode like it was a feeling, but he talks to everybody, and so he's basically when Kirsten's telling everybody stuff, she's giving a lot of information out. And so then when other people talk, they were like, because I know blah, blah, blah. And you only told Kirsten that. And so it's just like, wait a minute. So she's talking to this person and this person. She got an alliance with these people. So I think that's where it didn't show it in the episode, but that's where the distrust came with her. Because you really have to be strategic. You do have to start playing the game, but you have to figure out who you really trust and tell them everything. And then the people you don't trust, try to get the information from them. And she didn't find that balance quite yet. But
so?
it
So
seems
my
like people like her. It's just, yeah.
so my question in real life,
Mm-hmm.
is that what you do? Is you seek out people that you know you're gonna trust? Do you actively seek out people that you know you're gonna trust, or does it just happen over time?
I feel like, I mean, when I say active, I don't mean like, okay, hey, sit down, let me see if I trust you. Not like that, but like I feel like do what you would normally do, be yourself, but then you just get a vibe like, okay, I think I could trust this person. As you start talking, it's like, okay, I can trust them. Those are the people. And you don't necessarily have to solidify, okay, you're my number one, because a lot of times the people that secure number ones that early, it may or may not work out. Sometimes they do make it to the end. A lot of times they don't. But I feel like that's what I feel like a good strategy is to to make connections with everybody, but secure your strong connections and people that you can trust that'll be with you ride or die.
Okay.
So anyway, the next is the HOH competition, and of course, only those that are not on the block can play. And so they played this one before, something similar, where they have the different paths to get to the buzzer, and you know whoever gets there the quickest will win HOH. And the difference is this big bam and pow thing that's swinging back and forth. At first, I thought it was swinging evenly back and forth, but didn't it seem like it would stop and kind of wait? Did you see that?
It did for one particular person. It was kind of like he was trying to wait, and they were like, "No, we waiting too."
Okay. Because I was like, well, they should be able to time it. But when I saw that one, I was like, oh, okay, I see. But people, of course, you know, they were doing all of their little things, but it was one guy that was really fast, and I was like, oh, it was a Heisem, and I was like, oh, he gonna win. But that Riley, she went in there and killed it. So Riley ended up winning HOH, doing it in 16 seconds. And so she's the new HOH. And her job, of course, is to take down two of the nominees. So Felicia goes right away and talks to Riley and tells her basically, it's somebody that we can't trust. And nobody said her name, baby. She was like, start with a K. Yeah, start with a K.
Did you notice that everybody in the house at that point started saying starts with a K, starts with a K, starts with a K?
I was like, okay, now y'all not saying names. And so Jared goes to talk to her and says he promises to keep her safe. And Siri did the same thing. So after they all talked to her and basically targeted Kirsten, it seems like Kirsten is the target at this point. Mm-hmm. And Corey goes and talks to her because he's also, on the block, and she seems convinced, with him too. And so she's trying to juggle. She knows that she wants to take Jared off for sure. So he'll be safe. She's struggling really between Felicia and Corey because she feels like Kirsten is her target. And after that speech with Corey, he must have convinced her because at the whatever they call it, the nomination ceremony, she removes Corey and Jared and leaves Kirsten and Felicia on the block. So that's where we left off on was it Sunday? Yeah. Mm-hmm. With them on the block. And so Kirsten, of course, is not happy about that, as you wouldn't be, you're on the block and everything. And so she's teary-eyed and whatnot. And Felicia, of course, is like gonna fight for her life or whatever. I don't know if she talked to her about being a pawn. She may have mentioned it to her at some point, but that's where we left off for tonight's episode. So tonight's episode, we have our nominations. And so Felicia feels betrayed. That's what she says in her diary room or whatever. But Kirsten feels betrayed because she was in the Felix 5, which, okay, girl.
All I'm saying is, after all these years of watching Big Brother, don't you know?
Yeah. And you have to constantly check in with people because things can change minute by minute. So you can feel like you're good. You talk to them that one time, and the last person that talked to them, yeah. So I would be a nomination.
Or just by checking in, you made them feel even worse than how they were feeling before, and make them say, even though you ain't do nothing wrong, somebody just lied on you.
Right.
You always gotta. Mm-hmm.
Now, dude, I wonder, and I didn't check Twitter because with Big Brother, you gotta check Twitter right away, because I didn't know if people were feeling a certain kind of way, because you know how they always talk about Black people. And you said you want to talk about this, Black people get nominated early or whatever. But in this particular episode, we had really 3 Black people gunning for Kirsten, who was another Black person, to be the target and voted off. Now, on one hand, it's like, okay, she got my name in her mouth, so yeah, I'm gonna target her. And then another is like, okay, do you not want a Black person to be the first one voted off, or I don't know. Do you have any thoughts? And also, you want to talk about like actually having the nominations, like were they rigged this time and all that kind of stuff?
All right. So I had a friend of mine who, by the
Mhm.
way, has been watching Big Brother since the very beginning, just
Okay.
as I have, right? And part of the problem that he's always had with Big Brother is the fact that so many black people leave the show early, which, to be quite honest, he ain't lying.
That's true. That's true.
In this particular case, in this particular season, I cannot subscribe to that thought.
Hmm.
Yes, there were three people who were quote unquote nominated. However, it was based upon how they performed in whatever activity it was in.
Right.
That ain't got nothing to do with somebody nominating you.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, in the case of Riley taking down, one white dude, one black dude, it could be argued that really she was just trying to trying to get rid of a girl, right, and had nothing to do with the race, right.
Hmm.
But the truth of the particular matter in this situation is that Kirstie Alley, whatever her
We'll get it.
name
We'll get
is.
if she stays, we'll get her name right. If not,
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
won't matter.
Hmm. In this particular case, she was digging her own grave. What do you
Yeah.
want her to do? She's the first. Okay, so when you're the first one, a lot of times it's about what the house wants. It ain't got nothing to do
Yeah.
with you. You just don't want to make anybody upset because now they could be gunning for you, right? So
Right.
you're taking the temperature. The temperature is telling you get rid of her. That's what you do.
Hmm.
Especially if other black people are telling you to get rid of her.
Yes. It's almost like you got a open door, or, or whatever. And to me, like I didn't think it was suspicious at all because when they did let them in for at a time, so somebody could say, well, they kind of did the put the black people in different groups so they can. But even with that, they chose where they went when they got
Thank
back.
you.
That's the
Thank
thing.
you.
So they couldn't have guessed like, oh, they're gonna go here and they're gonna go here and there. Yeah. So that I don't know. I don't think it was that.
Now,
Okay.
historically,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he had a
We
point.
can definitely agree on that.
He had a point. But being stuck on stupid don't make
Hmm.
you right.
Yeah. True that. True that.
All right.
So for tonight's episode, they what's her name? Kirsten is like crying, and of course, Izzy comes and consoles her and checks on her. Sari comes and checks on her as well. And Sari was like, I feel for her because she's on the block, and it's just like, man, but she's a hot mess and a loose cannon. And so, it's just like, man, but they are trying to encourage her. And so Riley and uh, Felicia talk, and she comforts her and says, like, look, you're just a pawn. Nobody's gonna vote you off. You're like the sweetest person ever. So she tries to at least let her know that her plan is not to target her. But of course, with being a pawn, it ain't really about what the HOH can't vote. So
You don't know what's gonna happen after the power of veto.
exactly. So Luke, Corey, and Jag are talking, and this is like so weird because Corey was like, "Oh, so thankful to be off the block," and Luke was like, "I didn't know you were on the block until, And we were like, "How you didn't know he was on the block? What are you in the Big Brother house?" But I think Luke also was not strategizing. He wasn't talking to anybody, and nobody was really talking to him about strategy at this point. Yeah, so
Oh.
he was kind of
But hold up,
left.
hold up, hold up. You in a whole, I mean, all up until that point, right? You in
Yeah,
a whole alliance. Why is your alliance not communicating with each other, talking
exactly.
to each other? Like that should let you know that
That
it's
it
not a
ain't
real
real.
alliance.
Exactly. Because yeah, if you ain't in on the plans and y'all ain't met, y'all not really in alliance. And so, who was it? Somebody was like, "Oh, I think a Jag." Somebody say either he's a secret genius or really dumb, and I think it's really dumb because we'll talk about that later. But anyway, they open up the outside, so of course everybody's excited about that because that's what they they're excited about that. So they run out there and po Felicia, girl, she already old, and so she just wants to stick her toe into the whirlpool, and she falls completely in there. And I'm just like, oh my god! But she doesn't seem injured or anything. But Oh my gosh, poor Felicia. Oh. So anyway, they kind of cue into the scary room people. And so all of the people that are in the scary room are hanging out a lot. So it's like Blue, Jag. Well, Riley isn't in scary room, but she's there. Blue, Jag, Cameron, and I'm missing somebody. Matthew. And so they're like hanging out and doing all kind of fun stuff together. They're in the scare room dancing, all this kind of stuff. And so Felicia walks in and she was like, I don't know what's going on, but I don't want no parts of this. So she said it kind of funny, but she was like, I peeped that. Like, they too close. Like, they are not being secretive. They kind of like, I think they got something going on. So she felt like they had an alliance. And so let me see. They ended up officially solidifying the alliance. So it is Riley, Blue, Jag, Matthew, and Cameron. They go up to the HOH room and they solidify themselves and they call themselves the Handful because it's 5. That's a hand. And there are a lot of hands in the scary room. So that's how they get there.
Now, who are these people one more time?
Okay, it's Riley. She's the HOH currently. There's Blue. And then there's Jag. He's the Sikh. Matthew, the Deaf Olympian, and Cameron, the hair guy.
Okay.
So they all solidify the alliance. And so that's where they are right now. Between this and the next scene, Corey talks to Sari and really explains how big of a super fan he is. And she's just like, okay, on one hand, it's a good thing because you're just like, okay, so maybe he likes me. But on the other hand, it's like, okay, he also
I need to be afraid of you.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, too, and he feels the same way. So we'll see how this all pans out with Corey.
Now, who the hell is Corey? And the reason I asked, no, I know who. I know, like I know what he looks like, a little skinny white boy who does the jujitsu shit.
No, he's a speaker, right?
But he also does karate, black belt type stuff. He does that too.
Okay.
But the reason I ask is because on another podcast, they kept mentioning Corey and Sari as if they were excited about the two of them being on this one show together. So I'm wondering, what is it that Corey has done in his past?
I think, does Corey have a brother? They haven't aired this, but I feel like Corey is the one that has a brother that was on Survivor.
Okay.
Or a family member. I think it might be a brother or family member that's on Survivor. So that could be it. And then also, I mean, if you watch the live feeds, you'll see that how the house is shifting. And Corey and Sari at this point are aligned on the same side of the house at this point. But what's airing on the show is that that he is going to be part of this. They bring him into the Handful. So yeah, so they well, before we get to that, Jag and Hassan, remember we were talking about like, okay, they got a Sikh in the house. It's the first time in one that's been on the show. So we're going to definitely have an educational section. This wasn't really it was acknowledging and opening up, but I didn't learn anything per se, but you can kind of equate it to, I don't say being Black, but basically he was saying that when people see him, the first thing they see is his turban, and they judge him by that. And they lean into their stereotypes that they're most familiar with. And so he tries his best to dispel them, any negativity by, being himself, being, just let them know who he is. And Hissam or Hisam, I forgot how to pronounce it, mentioned that he's Egyptian and he's Arab as well. I think they said that on the show before, but he being an Arab in America. And I don't know, like, to me, and I mean, not to be, I might sound stereotypical, but to me, like, Jag, you see him and he's a Sikh or he's something. And some people, which he mentioned, may think he's a Muslim, but he's not Muslim. He's Sikh, which is different. So hopefully they get into that and what the differences are, because I don't know the differences. I know it's different, but I don't know what the differences are. They may be totally unrelated. They may be similar, like Baptist, Christian, who knows? And we'll find out, hopefully. But he said that definitely after 9/11, it's a lot of Islamophobia. And people think he's Muslim, so they treat him crazy. And he's just like, it don't matter if I'm Muslim or not. I'm not, but you should treat me right regardless. And so they had that little session. But we'll see if they actually air more or we learn more about it. I'm sure if he stays, we will. But so now with this little handful alliance, oh no, okay. Felicia has realized that there is another alliance or something's going on because she was like, "Is something going on with them people in that scare room?" So she decides to create an alliance of their own called the Bye Bye Bees. It's on the wall, the Bye Bye, not bees, but you know. And so
I know.
yeah, Siri, her, Izzy, I think that was what's her name left out the room. Bowie left out the room, but I think they included her in the 5. But it was Siri. I think that was Miko, Mimi, Felicia, Izzy, and Bowie. So those are the, and we'll see how long that lasts. And Siri was like, I'll be loyal to them as long as they loyal to me. And if they not loyal to me, then it's bye-bye.
Bye, Felicia.
Okay. So the Handful Alliance realized that, okay, it's 5 of us, but to really take over the game, we got to expand.
Yeah.
And so they reach out to Corey, Jared, and America. So
an 8-person alliance?
Well, so they're supposed to, they didn't say this on the show, but in the live feeds, they talked about like an onion where it's kind of like layering their alliances. So the point of the onion type of alliance is the core group is solid, but they need this next layer. But the next layer shouldn't know about the core group.
Okay.
But when they're explaining, they were just like, look, the 5 of us, we're talking and we feel like you could join us. And so it's like, at least on the show, everybody seems happy. Corey seems happy about joining the alliance because, he just got the block and he was like, this is all I wanted is to find a home, to find a family or whatever. So Corey seems like he's in. America seems like he's in. Jared seems like he's in too. However, he goes straight to mama and like, look, it's 5 people that's in the alliance and they try to bring me in. And so Siri was like, oh, I knew it. And she was like happy her son was being brought in. However, I'm not in on it, so they can target me type of thing. So, she gonna have to figure out her strategy at that point. But she was sneaking in kisses, like, let me kiss. Let's get a hug right quick, because that's her baby. So we never saw that side of Siri on Survivor. I will say that. So they moved to Kirsten kind of in the mirror, like, how like they be talking to themselves. She was in the bathroom, was like,
wait, question. Is Kirsten in anyone's alliance?
Currently only the Phalanx 5, which is basically nothing.
No more.
So she isn't in anything right now, but we'll see if she stays, what happens. So she's in the mirror talking to herself about the veto. And how she's like, I'm going to fight blood, sweat, and tears. And this is for all of the people, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to keep my friends close and my enemies closer. So she's planning to win the veto or whatever. And as they all, do. So then they do the veto picks. It's, of course, Felicia, Riley, and Kirsten. Then they pick Hassam and Cameron, I believe. And I forgot who else. But long story short, Hassam wins the power veto. And so that's kind of where they leave off. Now, the spoiler alerts are that we have to talk about is what your spoiler alert thing? You got it?
I sure do.
To be warned, okay? Keep listening, but these are spoilers if you don't watch the live feeds. So Hassam does not take anybody off the block. So the block is remaining the same. And currently Kirsten is the target. And that's the way people are moving at this point. Izzy, I don't know if they're going to show this on the show, but she seems kind of like very high strung. And I feel like, I don't know if Siri would be that connected to her if she didn't have that secret. Because she just kind of like, you just got to kind of keep her under control. So that's an interesting thing. But the main thing that people have been talking about is Luke, and this happened today. So Luke apparently was in the have not room,
Okay.
and just casually said the N word, just in conversation. Like,
With whom?
he was with Jared. I feel like Hissam and Corey were in the room.
How did he say it?
I didn't hear it per se, but the way it was described is he just talking, and it's just like he just said it like he said every day. And they said that, like, initially it was kind of a look of like, say what now? Because I guess the live feeds were down, and when they came back up, he just said it like it was almost like they were in the middle of conversation, and it was like a minute later he said it, and they kind of looked like, did we just hear what we just heard or whatever? And they said Hassam and Corey seemed nervous and like, what just happened? So they leave. Jared is in the room, and he says something like, not Jared said something, but Luke said to Jared, oop, a little slip of the tongue type of thing. And to me, like, if it's not part of your normal vocabulary, you're not going to say it. It ain't going to, nothing can slip out your tongue unless it done slipped out your tongue several times before. And so he was like, oop, I'm gonna get in trouble, and it won't be the first time, that type of thing. Like, and as far as what I saw trending on Twitter, Jared did not act like you would think somebody would act if you said the N-word in front of him. Now, he is on Big Brother. He didn't know what they were gonna do, so he could be like, okay, I'm playing this game. I can't fight. I can't, like, what can I do? So we'll see how he really feels in the diary room. But at that point, he did not do anything.
Well, tell me how he reacted when this happened. And the reason I'm asking is because, you know, I went to LSU, and I went to LSU in the 90s, and I never heard anyone say that in my presence, but I had a lot of conversations with people, and they admitted the fact that they use the word regularly, just not in front of Black people.
Okay.
And what they said was, well, number one, they said they listen to rap music, and in rap music they use the word a lot. Now, this is my opinion, or at least this was my opinion in the 90s. Okay. I can't be mad at somebody who's singing a song and they hear the word whatever and they say it while they're singing. I can't be mad. I just, like, that was just how I felt. I can't be mad. But if you use that word and you address me with it, that's a totally different situation, right? Now, that's why I asked, you know, like, how was the word used? I need the context. And you're saying that you didn't hear it.
Yeah. And I tried to click on several videos where people posted it, and they were the link was not available anymore. So it's like it went to nothing. And so I don't know if CBS is stripping all of the, even Taylor had a link to the video on her Twitter, and it's no longer valid. So I don't know if they're stripping it. I'm sure somebody has it, but
I wonder why when they posted it, they didn't like mute the word. Like, if you mute the word,
then maybe
it's not gonna catch.
And I will say I didn't do like a full exhaustive search, but I did look for it. But I'll keep looking to see if I can find it, to see like so I can actually see how he said it, because I'm just going off based of either what people wrote or what in people when they described it in their videos, what he said and how he said it.
So based on what you do know, what are your thoughts about the situation?
Okay, I'm of the belief, and I think I was of this in the 90s. I don't want y'all to say, y'all can do everything y'all want to do. Don't say the N-word. Like, why y'all mad about it? Y'all got one thing y'all can't do. Why are you mad about it? Anyway, I don't want you saying it in the song. I want, like, to me, like, when I'm singing a song, if it say a word I don't want to say, I don't say it or whatever. You know, like, anyway. So that's my belief. And so I don't think you should say it at all, because it has a negative connotation. You're not Black, so you're not calling me your brother or whatever. To me, like, why are you saying it? To me, like, and you know what it means, all that kind of stuff. It's been very publicized, so you should know that's not a word to say.
So then my question, why is it that Black people use the word all the time?
You know what? I don't know. I don't know. So like I will say that I don't use it much, but like I will like at times use it with like good friends. Sometimes my husband, I'll be like, so I think honestly, I do understand people that want to get rid of the word altogether. I do understand that. But it's more like I want to say term of endearment.
I don't use it. Like I go to
I don't
great
use it
pains.
often.
In my head, do I think it?
Uh-huh.
Yes. But what comes out is Negro.
Oh, okay. Or what did you say? Regin?
Yep,
That's
yeah,
a good
yeah, yeah.
one.
Regent.
Regin or something
From
like that.
college. In college.
Oh, yeah, okay. So,
We would call white people Regents.
oh, okay. That ain't right either. But I will say, for this situation, he was removed from the show. So Luke is no longer on the show. CBS, I think, put out a statement about it, but we'll probably see how it airs tomorrow. What I don't know is if they will allow Kirsten and Felicia to stay, or are they just because they have 17 house guests, 100 days. I haven't calculated that if it works out with their double eviction plans and all that kind of stuff. But I'm feeling like they will maybe let them stay. I don't know.
Or will they bring another person in?
I don't. To me, if they bring another person in, you mean after they do the eviction?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's a good question because to me, it's like, well, you already got rid of a person this week, so let's just keep going. But
Now, has Big Brother ever done that?
got rid of somebody for
And then said, oh, okay, well, we're going to keep everyone regardless of the vote.
apparently, what was it? Big Brother Canada had a similar situation and they got rid of the person. What I don't know is what they did with that vote. Um, and but people on Twitter seem to think that they're leaning toward like Kirsten is staying because they're comparing her to Taylor, talking about everybody hated her and now she about to be the new Taylor or something. And I don't know, but
Now, I don't hate Kirsten. Now, I will say this: like when I
yeah,
first saw Taylor last season, there was something about her that I did not like,
I remember that. I remember that.
based on nothing but how I felt in my gut. And when I go to her Instagram today, I'd be
Uh-huh.
like, ugh,
You get the same feeling.
same feeling, and I can't put my finger on it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't get that from Kirsten.
Yeah, I know. And apparently, she's liked in the house. People just don't like her gameplay. And that's what it's about in Big Brother. Like, we can like you, but it's about the game at the end of the day. So we'll see what they do tomorrow. Cause it's the cause I forgot that Taylor was on the block the first week, and what happened where they didn't do the eviction? Because I can't remember what happened. Because she didn't go home that first week. I don't know if somebody left or
Now you know what I need to start doing. So okay, so full disclosure. So I spent some time. I don't know when it was. I was on the live feeds, and like sometimes when you're on the live feeds, it's boring. So it's just like, so you walk away.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't doing my job with being on the live feeds. And perhaps we need to coordinate when we're on the live feeds because I don't want you to miss your life. And I hope you don't want me to miss my life. But, boring moments, my God,
Yeah. It's
and
a
it's the
slow
beginning.
press. And I think because they are California time, when they really get to kicking up doing
It's at
stuff
night.
is yeah. And if you work, you can't be up watching live feeds. So I don't know. So I don't catch everything. But I do try to catch different Twitter and stuff to see like what's going on or stuff like that to keep me updated on what I missed. And they have clips always out there, except for the one of Luke. So the one I'm trying to see.
Let me do a little search. Go dig in.
If you find it, send it to me. If I find it, I'll send it to you.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Anything else we need to talk about?
No, I think that's it.
All
We'll see what
right.
happens tomorrow.
So I just want to say this. Don't forget to kiss the subscribe button, lick on the like button, baby. Share us on all your social medias. Nibble, 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 nibble on the notification button, and make love to our senses in the comments. Love you. Have a great one.